when one has to evacuate, right? We know we're going to be talking about earthquakes here pretty soon. What should one have in their vehicle at all times?
Bev, that's an excellent question.
Thank you.
And I want to back up for just a second, if you don't mind, to the evacuation issue. And when we ask you to leave, within the county, we have a program called Ready, Set, Go. And basically what it teaches you is be ready to leave. And that's what we want to go into. Is if you know, we burn every year in this county. We've been fortunate enough the last 2 or 3 years we've not had a significant fire. But what was it?
Idlewild was significant a couple months ago.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Riverside County is still in the recovery mode for that. Well, think about just what was it? Last Thursday, we had the fire in Glendora that they lost. I believe it was 5 homes and several outbuildings. That was a small, by acreage standards, that's a very small fire. But we lost 5 homes, and that was mid-January. When we talk about being ready to go, you need to have a plan. What are we going to do? What do we need to evacuate with? And one of the things that happens if you're not prepared ahead of time and you haven't sat down and taken those few minutes to say, what's critical, what's my plan, how am I going to do this? When the disaster happens, in this case the fire we're talking about, the problem you run into is you'll blank. And you'll feel, okay, what do I need to do? What do I do? What do I take with me? And all of a sudden, people have a tendency to start grabbing the first things they see, not the important things. And then you evacuate, you look down, well, why did I bring the bedspread when I left all my important documents at home? Well, that's because it's the first thing you saw. Your mind stopped working. What we want you to think about is, in that preparedness portion, having that plan, what are my critical documents? Do I have copies of birth certificates? Do I have copies of my Social Security cards? Do I have my home deed? Do I have rental documents? What are those documents that you need to put your life back together if you were to lose your home?
Well, and also that's why I push safes. And I tell people that each safe has a fire code to it. This one survived this many hours under fire, etc. And I really promote safes because you really can't grab everything. When I started my house on fire, I grabbed my daughter and said, please, every fat picture of myself, please burn. You know what I'm saying?
And think about, too, especially from the insurance perspective, I agree with you completely that the safe is an outstanding item to have. Think about, too, what about all of our electronics now? How much of our life do we keep on computer now?
Correct.
And we don't think about, I got these things out, but most people don't grab their computer, especially if it's a big tower. You're thinking ahead. That's what we're looking for. Think about having a backup for your computer. One of the things that our Wrightwood community did, and they've done for several years through their Fire Safe Council, is they got every home in the community a 8-gig USB memory stick and went through with people and helped them work on scanning all of their important documents, the critical items needed, family contact list, those items, and everybody has a memory stick, and they're taught when you evacuate, take your memory stick with you. So grab your documents, but if you happen to forget them or something else, you've always got that memory stick with backups on it. So it's that extra little insurance. You've got your safe with your key documents. You've got your memory stick. You're good to go. You've got a double backup there.
And another good thing I want to jump into, a lot of people now at the banks, they have safety deposit boxes. What I have been doing for 1,001 years, Barbara, that long, right? The things like your birth certificates, things like this, your passports, everything that cannot really be replaced without going through a hassle, get it in your safety deposit box. The flash drive, yes, for the backup, everything in your computer. Take an extra one. You do one, you can do another one. Put that in your safety deposit box, right? Make sure you have extra cash, your credit cards, the important jewelry, all the stuff that can never, ever be replaced. Get that together, go down, and I think it's like $10 a month or something, some ridiculous cheap price. Get your safety deposit box, put it in there, bada bing, bada doom, you're okay. You know what I mean? And, all of this, we're giving you all this information, guys. I hope you're writing it around and putting it in your memory bank, and don't say, I'll do it next week, because next week never comes.
And think about, too, as you're doing that preparedness, you're getting all those documents, and I think Barbara will kind of concur with this. Take the time. Everybody has a camera. Everybody has a smartphone.
Correct.
Smartphone has a camera, or a lot of people they still have a digital camera. Take the time. Take pictures of your home.
I've told people that all the time. Just take a picture of your whole house. You can even go, here's my video, my VCR, and then turn it around and you've got your serial number and keep going. You absolutely can do that. We did that when we were being evacuated for that Oak Glen fire a year or two ago. We were videoing ourselves while we were leaving the house.
Well, and I think you'd agree. It makes it so much easier to recover out when you go to your insurance company and say, well, I had this. You all are going to say, as the insurance company, prove it.
Right.
We're not going to let you scam us. So prove it. Take the time. Take 20, 30 minutes. Walk to your home. Shoot 2 or 3 photos in every room. If even better, if you got the video camera, talk yourself through it as you're doing it. This is what's here. This is what here. We got this here. We got this here.
And that's why a lot of people don't want to evacuate, because there's no safety net for their belongings. And so many people are cutting corners today that their home policies don't cover theft.
Exactly.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
They don't cover theft. The cheaper home policies don't cover theft, but they want to save the money. So they're afraid of leaving because they're worried about who's going to come in behind them and steal them blind.
Well, and
so that's one issue.
I want to touch on that for a second about the not evacuating, because we saw that with the 2003 and the 2007 fires in the mountains. We had people that didn't want to evacuate. Oh, I have to protect my property, or
correct.
My neighborhood has never burned. It won't happen here. The problem is there's going to be at one time it does. And within our county, the Sheriff's Department, in cooperation with our other local police departments, CHP, U.S. Forest Law Enforcement, they do a pretty solid job of, once we evacuate an area and nobody's getting back in, Sheriff has gotten very, very good about it. They will clamp down on that area, and if they catch you, you're going to jail. Mm-hmm. We don't want people in there. We don't
that,
want.
And I tell people that even contractors,
exactly.
When they go in, prove you're a contractor, prove you have a right to be in this area. You're exactly right. So I concur with that, as well as I tell my people, okay, I get that's an issue, but
and as part of that, we touched on the Ready, Set, Go program. As part of that, so you've made your plan, you've gotten prepared, you know what you're going to do when you evacuate. Be set. Have a bag put together. We talk about the same thing with earthquakes. Have that basic, what we call a go kit, put together. Have some clothing, your dockets, a little bit of food and water, whatever you may need. Have that sitting by the front door. It works for your earthquake. It works for your fire. Have it ready to go. And when we ask you to leave, leave. One of the greatest challenges we face as public safety is when we ask people to evacuate and we say, please leave the neighborhood. This is why the fire is coming through. If you don't leave, we have to commit crews to go back in and get you. And when we fight fire, we work in what's called strike teams, where it's 5 engines, and they work together as a group. So we get a report that, hey, in this neighborhood that's been evacuated, there's family stayed. We can't send a single engine, so we're going to send that entire strike team of 5 engines, which is 15 to 18 people, plus those 5 engines. All that just came off firefighting and has to go into the neighborhood to get that family out. So if you've waited to the last minute, now you have homes in the neighborhood burning and you're not leaving, and you suddenly realized, oh, I can't get out, I need help, and we have to send those crews in, now we're sending 18 to 20 people in that we're putting in harm's way because you didn't leave when you had the opportunity to. Who knows what else we may lose because we're having to pull that equipment off the fire line because we have to get you out. Now, to address that, L.A., Orange, and San Bernardino counties, as part of the Ready, Set, Go program, has now set up that once we ask you to leave, there's going to be a point when we decide if you call for help, we're not going to come get you.
Well, I also heard there's a ticket or a fine or something now.
L.A. County is doing it. I don't believe we've implemented it here in San Bernardino County yet. There are a couple of Midwest states who have started implementing that as well. So if they've told you to leave and you don't, and then you call in, if they have to come get you, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Now, we'll see where that goes in this state. Somebody's eventually going to challenge that. We'll see that happens. But the point I want to stress is when we tell you to leave, leave. Because now if we're in a major fire like 03 or 07 and you hit a certain point, we're not going to come get you. We can't. We can't risk the personnel or the equipment. You need to leave. It's easier to get out, go to a friend's home, go to a hotel. San Bernardino County now has one of the most robust mass care and sheltering programs for doing super shelters. Because we discovered in 03 and 07, like with the 03 fire, we evacuated 68,000 people out of the mountain communities in 4 hours.
Whoa.
Now, what amazes me is in all the preparation we had done because of bark beetle and other things looking, we knew the mountains were going to burn. We had no traffic accidents, we had no road rage incidents, and no traffic flow problems. But 64,000 people going down Highway 330 and Highway 38 in 4 hours, and we got them all out. Now, with that, we discovered we need to be able to shelter them because we're going to take the hotels and everything up very quickly. Rest assured that if you have to evacuate and you don't have a place to go, the county will have shelters in place that will provide not only sheltering, it'll provide child care services, medical services, mental health if you need someone to talk to. Our shelters also include what we call an incorporated on-site pet shelter. So let's face it, pets, that's part of our family. Dog, cat, well, some people have snakes. But the pet is part of the family. You don't want to leave your pet behind. You don't want to leave a member of the family behind. What we saw in 03 and 07, and we've tried to address now in the county, is a lot of people would evacuate, but they wouldn't come into the shelter because you can't bring your pet in the shelter. So what do? They stay in their car overnight in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. So what the county's done as part of what we call our SHOC, or our Shelter Operations Compound, big fancy title, we have the human shelter, and right next door is the animal shelter. So when you have to evacuate, bring your pets. We can open up, we'll give you bed space, whatever you need, and the animal shelter has room for your animals right there. They can get veterinary care if they need it, emergency care, they get food, they get water. They're able to shelter, you can play with them in the day, but they have a safe place to sleep as well. So now you're not having to live in your car right after a disaster. So we've built all of this together as an integrated component. So if we have that fire, if we have that earthquake, and we ask you to evacuate or you have to leave because the neighborhood's been wiped out in an earthquake, there will be resources and support available to you very quickly. So that's part of the reason some people don't want to evacuate is, well, as you said, I don't want to lose my stuff, or nobody's going to help me. I don't have any place to go. It is in place. Mm-hmm. We have actually exercised this. All of the county departments and the cities participate with it. We're ready to go. Now, we don't want to have to use it, because if we're using it, it means things have gone bad. But we have it in place to help you out and protect you. So when we ask you to leave.
Just do it.
Get out.
Just do it. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to Let's Go Shopping with Bev right here on KCAA 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind. And I hope you guys are listening because, boy, do we got information coming out. And we are talking to Zach, one of the coolest fire guys I ever met. I'm going to tell you, he's really cool. And he's from the San Bernardino County Fire Department, Office of Emergency Service. And also we have Barbara and Daniel from Farmers Insurance. And we're talking about the earthquake and the fire also. And Joey's on the board. And so, guys, please take the time and listen to what we're telling you. It's going to save you and your family a whole lot of grief someday. And hopefully it never happens, but if you listen, you will learn. And in a couple of days, this whole program will be onto the website, so you just pop on there and you can pop up this program whenever you need it. Even if you have that smartphone, now you can push into the smartphone to hear the program again and again and again. Now, Zach, the other thing I wanted to ask you, with all this info for your carry-away bag, or go-away bag, as we call them, okay? You know us the time, the go-away bag. Now, of course, the extra set of clothes, in the shoes, some kind of a jacket or sweater, your bathroom stuff like your toothpaste and toothbrush and like this. Don't get crazy. Don't bring the curling iron and all of this. Don't bring the bling-bling and the bubble bath and, that stuff. Forget about it. You can get that later.
Well, you never know. You might want to trade the bling-bling for other things. So there could be a benefit to some of
right. But that's what I'm saying. Leave the bling-bling home and the blow dryer and stuff. But now... And then for the children, like, the extra diapers for the toddlers, whatever it is. If you need more than one bag, and it should be, keep it simple, because 2 bags or less, you grab, you run, you're out, right? Now, also, what should one do for different medications? Like people with diabetes or the children has food allergies or peanut allergies and they need the shots and stuff. What should one put that in one particular bag by itself, or how should they do that?
I'm glad you brought up the medication issue. That's something we learned a lesson the hard way here in the county in 2007. We had a lot of people, when you evacuate, there are kind of 2 ways you evacuate. Either you have lead time, meaning we've come and said, hey, you have a half hour, you have 45 minutes, you have some time, get your stuff together, get out. Or there's